Beloved in Christ, good evening. Tonight we're still here doing Penitential Vespers. You know, Sunday evenings of Lent is the time that's very precious for a lot of us when we gather all the churches together. So it's been a very meaningful service for me, and I thought if there's just 2 or 3 from not only our church but the San Diego area churches that miss this, like I do, let us know, because I'll keep them. Ours was last Sunday. I know that Father Al is supposed to do this Sunday. I'm not sure if he is, but at least I thought I'd offer it. So pray with us. Thank you. Pray for me, a sinner.
You know the part that says, "O Holy Trinity, have mercy on us, Lord, cleanse." I say that 3 times. According to this, it says thrice.
The Lord have mercy, 3 times. Lord have mercy.
Oh, the Lord have mercy.
O God, be gracious to me, a sinner. Have mercy upon me. O God, be gracious to me, a sinner. Have mercy upon me. O God, be gracious to me, a sinner. Have mercy. Forgive my brothers and sisters. Blessed is our God, always, now and ever, to the ages of ages.
Amen.
Glory to thee, our God, glory to thee, O heavenly King, come to the Spirit of truth. Lord, ever present, fill us all things, treasure of blessings, giver of life. Come and abide us, cleanse us from impurity, save our souls, O good one.
Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, but now and ever, unto ages of ages. Amen. O Holy Trinity, have mercy on us. Lord, cleanse us from our sins. Master, pardon our iniquities. Holy God, visit and heal our infirmities for the name's sake. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, but now and ever, unto ages of ages. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen. Lord have mercy, 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 Lord have mercy. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, unto ages of ages. Amen. Come, let us worship and fall down before God and our King. Come, let us worship and fall down before Christ, our King and our God. Come, let us worship and fall down before Christ himself, our King and our God. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, thou hast been magnified exceedingly. Confession and majesty has thou put on, who covers thyself with light as with a garment, who stretches out the heavens as it was a curtain, who supports his chambers and the waters, who appointeth the clouds for his ascent, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirit and his ministers a flame of fire, who established the earth on the sureness thereof. It shall not be turned back forever and ever. The abyss, like a garment, is his mantle. Upon the mountains shall the waters stand. If they rebuke, they will flee. At the voice of the thunder shall they be afraid. The mountains rise up, and the plains sink down into the place where thou hast established them. Thou appointest a bound that shall not pass, neither return to cover the earth. You send forth springs in the valleys, between the mountains where the waters run. They shall give drink to all the beasts of the field. The wild asses will wait to quench the thirst. Beside them will the birds of the heaven lodge. From the midst of the rocks will they give voice. He watereth the mountains from his chambers. The earth shall be satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and green herb for the service of man, to bring forth bread out of the earth, and wine maketh glad the heart of man, to make his face cheerful with oil, and bread strengthen man's heart. The trees of the plain shall be satisfied, the cedars of Lebanon which thou hast planted. There will the sparrows make their nest. The house of the heron is chief among them. The high mountains are a refuge for the harts, and so is the rock for the hares. He hath made the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. Thou appointest the darkness, and there was the night, wherein all the beasts of the forest go abroad. Young lions roaring after their prey, and seeking the food from God. The sun ariseth, and they are gathered together, and they lay them down in their dens. Men shall go forth unto his work, and to his labor until the evening. How magnificent are thy works, O Lord! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is filled with thy creation. So is the great and spacious sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, small living creatures with the great. There go the ships. There this Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. All things wait on thee, to give them their food in due season. When thou givest to them, they will gather it. When thou openest thy hand, all things shall be filled with goodness. When thou turnest away thy face, they shall be troubled. Thou wilt take their spirit, and they shall cease. And unto their dust shall they return. Thou wilt send forth thy spirit, and they shall be created, and thou shalt renew the face of the earth. Let the glory of the Lord be unto the ages. The Lord will rejoice in his works, who looketh on the earth and maketh it tremble, who toucheth the mountains and they smoke. I will sing unto the Lord throughout my life. I will chant to my God for all as long as I have my being. May the words be sweet unto him. I will rejoice in the Lord. Oh, that sinners would cease from the earth, and they that work iniquity, that they should be no more. Bless the Lord, O my soul. The sun knoweth his going down. Thou appointest the darkness, and there was the night. How magnificent are thy works, O Lord! In wisdom hast thou made them all. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, unto the ages of ages of ages. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Glory to thee, O God. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Glory to thee, O God.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Glory to thee, O God. O our God and our hope, glory to thee. In peace let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For the peace and love salvation of our souls, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For the peace of the whole world, the Holy Church, the God of unity of all, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For this holy house of with faith runs the fear of God, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For our Metropolitan Erasmus, most young presbytery, for the archbishop of clergy and the people, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For our the faith live in them. Let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For favor with us the fruits of your peaceful time, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For those in our lands who never the sick and the suffer captive of their salvation, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For our and small affliction around the age of necessity, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Help us, save us, have mercy, protect us, O God, by your grace.
Lord, have mercy.
May most holy, most gracious, blessing, glorious, daily, over here and all the saints.
Save us.
Commit ourselves with our whole life to Christ our God.
To thee, O Lord.
For to you belong glory, honor to the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen.
Lord, I have cried out unto thee. Hear thou me. Hear thou me, O Lord. O Lord, I have cried out unto thee. Hear thou me. Give ear to the voice of my supplication. When I cry out unto thee, hear thou me, O Lord. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as the incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Hear thou me, O Lord. Set a watchful door before my mouth, and a protecting door round about my lips.
Line on my heart for evil words to make excuses in sin.
With men that work iniquity, I will not communicate with the choicest of them.
Just man shall correct me in mercy, and shall reprove me, but let not the oil of the sinner anoint my head.
For my prayers shall also still be in the things with which they are well pleased. Their judges falling upon the rocks have been swallowed up.
They hear my words, for they are sweet, and when the thickness of the earth is broken upon the ground, their bones are scattered at the side of hell.
But to thee, O Lord, Lord of my eyes, and thee have I put my trust. Take not away my soul.
Keep me from the snare which they lay for me, and the trap upon the workers of iniquity.
That the wicked fall into their own hands, whilst I alone escape.
I cried unto the Lord with my voice, unto the Lord, did I make my supplication.
But my spirit was overwhelmed within me, and I knew it's my path.
When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then I knew it's my path.
In the way where I walk, I will secretly lay the snare for me.
I looked on my right hand and beheld, but there was no man that would know me.
I cried to thee, O Lord, and said, Thou my refuge, my portion in the land of the living.
Refuge failed me, so no one cared for my soul.
I cried unto thee, O Lord, and said, Thou my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. King and Master, and I fall before thee crying like the publican, God be merciful to me and save me.
Righteous shall wait for me, if thou recompense me, that thou art immortal. O my soul, be not overwhelmed by the ways of life, but return to the soberness and cry to the benefactor, God be merciful to me and save me.
How then as I cry to thee, O Lord, Lord, hear my voice. Give me tears, O God, as once thou gavest them to the woman that had sinned, and count me worthy to wash thy feet, and having delivered me from the way of error, as a sweet-smelling ointment, let me offer thee a pure life, created in me by repentance, and may also hear those words for which I long, thy faith that saved thee, go in peace.
Let thine ears be attentive to the voice of my supplication. When I call to mind the many evils I have done, and I think upon the fearful day of judgment, seized with trembling, I flee to thee for refuge. O God, who lovest mankind, turn not away from me, I beseech thee, who alone art free from sin, but before the end comes grant compunction to my humble soul and save me.
If thou, Lord, shouldst mark iniquities, O Lord, who shall stand for the thee there is forgiveness. Come, O we believers, in the season of abstinence, exert every effort, that we may attain great glory and escape the fire of Hades, by the mercies of God the great King.
Because of thy name have I waited for thee, O Lord. My soul hath waited upon thy word. My soul hath hoped in the Lord. Having passed half the period of this holy fast, let us make manifest in ourselves the beginning of divine glory. Let us fervently hasten to the achievement of good conduct, that we may receive the never-ending bliss.
From the morning watch until night, from the morning watch until trust in the Lord. Having passed half the distance of this holy fast, let us strive with steadfastness unto its end rejoicing. Let us anoint ourselves with the oil of charity, that we may worthily adore the noble passion of Christ our God, arriving at his august and holy resurrection.
For with the Lord there is mercy, and with him abundant redemption, he shall deliver Israel from all his iniquities. Righteous Father John, in very truth, thou hast the high praise of God. In thy throat every day and hour, and with the active diligence thou didst earnestly meditate on the divinely inspired oracles, and was made rich in the grace that they pour forth. Through this, O man most wise, thou becamest blessed, and didst utterly overturn the counsels of all base and godless men.
Praise the Lord, nations, praise him, all ye peoples. Righteous Father John, most glorious, with streaming fountains of tears, thou didst wash thy soul, clean of stain, standing out all night in prayer. Thou becamest the friend of God, and thou didst soar as on wings unto his love, and his divine beauty which thou worthily now dost enjoy on high, with thy fellow athletes evermore enjoy. O most blessed and godly minded saint and man of prayer.
For his mercy is great toward us, and the truth of the Lord endureth forever. Righteous Father John, most glorious, since thou hast given thy mind wings to soar up to God by faith, thou didst hate the turbulence and the impermanence of the world. Thou didst take up thy cross with ardent zeal to follow after him that beholdeth all, and thou didst subjugate the reluctant body to thy sovereign mind. By ascetic labors through the Holy Spirit's mind.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen. Oh, my soul, now with heavy groans, and running torrents of tears, streaming forth from the heart in cry, to the Immaculate Virgin Mother of Christ our God. In thine unbounded compassion, rescue me from the dread torment, O pure and all holy Maid, and bring me forth to dwell in the place wherein is rest, eternal joy, and the enjoyment of the things that pass the mind of man. Blessings for holy place always now and ever, ages of ages. Amen. Wisdom, let us attend. O glass of light of the holy glory of the immortal Father, the heavenly, the holy, blessed Jesus Christ, now that we are come to the setting of the sun, and behold the light of evening, we hymn thee, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit God. It is meet and right at all times thou shouldst be magnified, O Son of God, the giver of life. Wherefore the whole world doth glorify thee. The evening proclaimed, turn not away thy face from thy servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily, attend my soul and deliver it.
Let thy salvation, O God, help me.
Turn not away thy face from thy servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily, attend my soul and deliver it.
Let the poor see it and be glad.
Turn not away thy face from thy servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily, attend my soul and deliver it.
Seek God, and thy soul shall live.
Turn not away thy face from thy servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily, attend my soul, and deliver it. Vouchsafe, O Lord, to keep us this evening without sin. Blessed art thou, Lord, the God of our fathers, and praise and glorify thy name forever. Amen. Let thy mercy be upon us, O Lord, even as we have set our hope on thee. Blessed art thou, Lord, teach me thy statutes. Blessed art thou, Master, make me to understand thy statutes. Blessed art thou, Holy One, enlighten with thy statutes. Thy mercy, O Lord, endureth forever. Despise not the works of thy hands. Thee belongeth worship, thee belongeth praise, thee belongeth glory. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, to ages of ages. Amen. Let us complete our evening prayer to the Lord. Lord, have mercy. Help us, save us, have mercy, and keep us, O God, by thy grace. Lord, have mercy. That the living perfectly peace and sins that is asked the Lord, grant this, O Lord. An angel, peace of faithful God, guard our souls and bodies. Let us ask of the Lord, grant this, O Lord. Pardon, remission of our sins and transgressions. Let us ask the Lord, grant this, O Lord. All things good and profitable for our souls and peace for the world. Let us ask the Lord, grant this, O Lord. we may live during entire life in peace and repentance. Let us ask the Lord. Grant this, O Lord. A Christian for life, painless, blameless, peaceful, the good defense for the fearful judgment of Christ. Let us ask the Lord. Grant this, O Lord. On which for all holy, miraculous blessing, glory, say, the Holy Spirit, and all the saints.
Save us.
Let's commit ourselves each other whole life to Christ our God. To thee, O Lord. For thou art God, the Spirit, and thee is pride, glory, the Father, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, the ages of ages.
Amen.
Peace be with all.
To thy spirit.
Let us bow our heads to the Lord.
Thee, O Lord.
O Lord our God, who has God of the heavens come down, salvation of mankind, look upon thy servants and thine inheritance, for to thee, the fearful judge who loves mankind. Thy servants bow their heads, submissively incline their necks. When you not help them and entreat thy mercy, looking confidently for thy salvation. Guard them at all times, looking to present even the approaching night of our foe, while out of the power of the vain thoughts from evil imaginations. Blessed and glorified the mighty King of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen.
The Savior who planted the vineyard and called the laborers verily is near. Come therefore, strivers in the fast, let us receive our hire, for the giver is rich and merciful, and if we labor little, we shall receive the great mercy. If they come to thee, how I lifted up my eyes, for thou dwellest in heaven, behold, as the eye of a servant look on the hand of their master, as the eyes of the handmaid look upon the hand of her mistress, so do our eyes wait upon the Lord God, till he take pity upon us.
Have mercy upon us.
When Adam fell among the robbers, of thought he was robbed in his mind, his soul was wounded, and he himself was cast out naked without any help. Neither did he, the priest who sought before the law, listen to him, nor the Levite who came after the law have compassion on him. Except thou, O God, who comest not from the Samaria, but from the Theotokos, wherefore, O Lord, glory to thee.
Have mercy upon us, O Lord. Have mercy upon us. For we are utterly humiliated. Let shame come upon them that prosper, and abasement on the proud. The Lord is, O Lord, can never deny thee, nor turn aside from thy commandments at any time. Wherefore, by their intercessions, have mercy upon us.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen. Let us give, O believers, angelic praise to the heavenly chamber, and truly sealed door, crying, Rejoice, O Lady, who for us didst rouse Christ God, and raise up the life-giver and Savior of all. Demolish therefore with thine own hands, O undefiled one, our giant enemies, the heretics, for thou art the hope of Christian.
Lord, now let thy servant depart in peace, according to the words. When mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles, and the glory of the people Israel.
Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Holy God, holy mighty, mercy on us. Glory to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and to the ages of ages. Amen. All Holy Trinity, have mercy on us. Lord, cleanse us from our sins. Master, pardon our iniquities. Holy God, visit and heal our infirmities for thy name's sake. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Glory to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and to the ages of ages. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory of the Father, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen.
Rejoice, O Virgin Theotokos, Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, for thou hast given birth to the Savior of our souls. O baptizer of Christ, remember our congregation, that we may escape from our iniquities. For to thee was given grace to intercede for us. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. O pure apostles, and all ye saints, pray for our sake, that we escape tribulations and sorrows. We have taken ye as fervent intercessors with the Savior, both now and ever, to the ages of ages. Amen. We have taken refuge under the wings of thy compassion, O Theotokos. Turn not away from our beseechings in tribulation, but save us from distress, for thou alone art pure and blessed. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, but now and ever, unto ages of ages. Amen. More honorable than the cherubim, and more glorious beyond the pair than the seraphim. Thou, who without corruption bearest God the Word, and the true Theotokos, we magnify thee. Bless Father, in the name of the Lord.
May God, may Christ our true God, lead us most blessed always, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen. O heavenly King, support of believing kings, confirm their faith, guide the nations, give peace to the world, and preserve well this holy church. Grant repose to our departed fathers and brothers in the dwelling place of the righteous. Receive us in repentance and confession with our good and the lover of mankind.
O Lord and Master of my life, take from me the spirit of sloth, meddling, lust of power, and idle thought. But give rather the spirit of chastity, humility, patience, and love to thy servant. Yea, O Lord and King, grant me to see my own sins and not to judge my brother. Thou art blessed into the ages of ages. Amen. Glory to thee, O Christ, our God, and glory to thee.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and ever, unto ages of ages. Amen. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Father, bless.
May Christ, our true God, through the intercessions of all Immaculate Blameless Holy Mother, by the protection of the honorable wise powers of heaven, that supplication our patron St. Gregory of Nyssa, protecting this holy community, The Holy Righteous God Joachim and Anna, our venerable Godmary, Father John Climacus of Sinai, the author of the ladder, whose repose we now commemorate. The new martyr Zachariah, Bishop of Corinth, and Sophronius, Bishop of Irkutsk, whose memory we love in all his mercy save us, for as much as he is good and loves mankind. The prayers of the Father, the Lord Jesus Christ, God have mercy upon us, and save us.
Amen.
Thank you, Kyriako, for those who serve and for those who sing. So for the two or three are gathered together tonight. Just you, Kyriako, myself, and the angels and saints. And tonight, I think it's very special. I'm going to end with the fact that today was St. John Climacus Sunday, and we talked about that during liturgy. But tomorrow, the 30th, is his actual day of repose for St. John Climacus. And I know that that's no coincidence. So I'm going to go ahead and read his paragraph from the prologue and sing his hymn of praise, and we'll let you rest for the evening. John Climacus is the author of the Ladder of Divine Ascent. John came to Mount Sinai at 16 years old, a youth, and remained there first as a novice, later as a recluse, and finally as abbot of Sinai until his 80th year, when he reposed in about the year 649. His biographer, the monk Daniel, says about him, "His body ascended the heights of Sinai, while his soul ascended the height of heaven." He remained in obedience to his spiritual father, Martyrius, for 19 years. Anastasius of Sinai, seeing the young John, prophesied that he would become the abbot of Sinai. After the death of his spiritual father, John withdrew into a cave, where he lived a life of strict asceticism for 20 years. His disciple, Moses, fell asleep one day under the shade of a large stone. John, at prayer in his cell, saw that his disciple was in danger and prayed to God for him. Later, when Moses returned, he fell on his knees and gave thanks to his spiritual father for saving him from certain death. He related that in a dream he had heard John calling him, that he had jumped up at the moment the stone had fallen. If he had not jumped, the stone would have crushed him. At the insistence of the brotherhood, John agreed to become abbot. He directed the salvation of the souls of men with zeal and love. Certain men reproached John for talking too much. Not at all angered by this, John nevertheless remained silent for an entire year. He did not utter a word until the brothers implored him to speak, and he continued teaching them with his God-inspired, God-given wisdom. On one occasion, when 600 pilgrims came to the monastery of Sinai, everyone saw a natural youth in Jewish attire serving a table, giving orders to the other servants and assigning duties. Suddenly, this young man disappeared. When everyone noticed he had this and begun to ask questions, John said to them, "Do not seek him, for that was Moses the prophet, serving in his own place." During his silence in the cave, John wrote many worthwhile books, of which the most glorious, the Ladder. This book is read by many, even today. In this book, John describes the method of raising the soul to God, comparing it to the climbing of a ladder. Before his death, John designated George, his brother in the flesh, as abbot. George grieved much because of his separation from John. Then John said to him that if he were found worthy to be near God in the other world, he would pray to him that George would be taken to heaven that same year. And so it came to pass. After 10 months, George fell asleep and settled among the citizens of heaven as his great brother John had done. Hymn of praise for St. John. As a kind of torch on Mount Sinai, John was shining with heavenly light. Having subdued his body, he subdued his thoughts. 30 steps he numbered towards victory, a miraculous strategy, a wonderful tactic. As a legacy, he gave spiritual warfare to the spiritual warrior who desires to learn, and in this warfare to gloriously conquer. The latter, most miraculous, written by the Spirit, after the dreadful strife was ended, when John the victor shed the world from himself, he brought it as a precious gift to his brethren,
an epic poem, such as the soul of a man, when from dust it desires to climb towards heaven. An awesome epic poem of struggle and suffering, a sparkling epic poem of faith and hope. This is what John, illumined by God, gave us. He gave all radiant weapons to you and to me. And now John prays before the Lord, that the Lord be pleased to send us help. When we climb to him by the ladder, that we might extend his hand to us, that he might extend his hand to us, that we might reach him. The prayers of St. John of the ladder, Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. God bless you all. Thanks for those that prayed with us tonight. Thank you, Kiriako, again. We've been very lonely. We've been almost undoable, so thank you. And know that tomorrow night we'll have our great compline at 6:30 p.m. So please, if you can join us, know that this is now coming on the 5th week of Great Lent, and we're still in the midst of all that's going on in the world, and I think it's time to pray. So thank you for praying with us.